Hey friends, welcome back to the channel with another movie reaction. Today we are watching A Silent Voice, and I'm super excited for this one. Ever since I watched Your Name, people have been saying on Patreon and on YouTube that I should check out A Silent Voice, and so I'm really looking forward to it. I don't know anything about the film other than from the comments people are saying if you like crying, you should watch A Silent Voice, which means this is going to make me bawl. But yeah, looking forward to it. If you want to watch the full reaction with picture-in-picture, you can check out Patreon in the link in the description below. We've got over 60 movies there now. So yeah, otherwise, let's get started. Quit part-time job. Why? He's thinking of jumping. What a sweet girl. Dude, I don't know if I'm glad or not that she obviously didn't hear what he was making fun of her. Friends. No, no, no. Are you freaking kidding me? It's happened multiple times. Oh my god. Jeez. You don't say. Oh.
一つ一つがとても高価なものだそうです。母さんに迷惑がかかる前に。石田。なあ、お前だろうが。早く立てよ、おら。石田君、ひどいよ。
He certainly didn't stop him from. Oh God, and everybody turned on him.
本当なの？本当だよ。
Taking out money from the bank. Oh. He grew up and learned to regret everything he did. Wait, is that her?
こんにちは。
西宮。覚えてる？俺小6の時の石田翔也なんだけど。
I can't.
西宮？待って。
Chill, she's running away. Just.
これ私に来た。忘れ物。どうしてって覚えた。てかこれ。俺と西宮。
You gonna try that shit now?
友達に。
That's why he tried to kill himself, because he felt like he deserved to die. He's not meeting her eye level. He's looking straight ahead. Great camera trick or camera work. Sounds like he's gonna steal it. He's gonna steal it.
石田君、見てこれ、見てこれ、自転車、君のだよね。石田君、どうしたの？
Friend.
君の名前。
長塚だよ。君の後ろの席なのに。
自分を満足させるためだけに来てるなら帰ってください。
おい少年。
Whoa.
俺のたちが西宮さんに会いたいっつってんだ。
長塚君。
つべこべ言わずに出せ。
あなたこないだの。
いや、違う。長塚君、ごめん。
さっきのうんこ頭誰？キモーい。
まじめに。
僕が君に会う理由。 はしていた。私も同じこと考えてた。おかしいね。
西宮さんのお母さん。
付き合っちゃダメよ。翔子にも言っといて。
そんなの自分で決めるよ。俺も姉ちゃんも。
姉ちゃん入るぞ。
She could still hear a little before, but she can't hear anything. What?
上野。
Well, hi.
うちの店のポーチじゃん。なんで持ってんの？怖。
俺があげた。
西宮さん、久しぶり。元気だった？
No, no, no.
何？一個しかないの？
上野、何やってんだよ。ごめん、西宮。
嘘、冗談でしょ石田。ま、せいぜい友達ごっこやってろ。
I get the feeling she's very sad. Whoa.
月？うん。綺麗だね。
Ah.
マジで？
Oh.
Oh. あいつ何？なんかやけになれなれしい。
Oh.
石田、私のこと嫌い？
多分。
You think so?
極秘映像を入手した。
観覧車の映像？
のね、私あんたのことが嫌い。そのせいで石田は友達を
No, she didn't do that.
周りのいろんなものが壊れ
Oh my god.
今でも私はあんたが嫌いだし。
She doesn't hate you. Oh. Oh. You can't hate yourself. No, forever. Come on.
いたいた石田君。カバン持ってきたよ。
どうも、なおちゃん。さっきはごめんなさい。でも、元を正せばいい。
That's not an apology. That is not an apology.
翔、俺はお前の味方だから。
俺のことをよく知りもしないくせに味方とか言ってんじゃね
He's pushing everyone away right now because he hates himself. Damn it.
え。いや、翔、どっか遊びに。
She feels like it's her fault because of what Ueno said.
どうしたの？え？花火まだ終わってないのに。
姉ちゃんは？あ、そうだ石田。ちょっとカメラ撮りに行ってくれ。
充電はある。
She didn't bring it with her.
西宮。
Oh!
西宮。西宮。
Move your ass! And... No. Oh, jeez. Whoa, 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 whoa!
またこんな形でご迷惑をおかけしてすみませんでした。やめてください。はうちのバカ姉ちゃんを助けてくれたんです。これの監督不行き届きです。辛いから死ぬなんてどうかしてる。
河合さん、声がでかいよ。
大きい声出さない。
What is this movie even? Ugh. Just waiting to talk to her every day. In the rain. He's... What? Are you real? Oh my god.
ごめんなさい。昔のことちゃんと謝ってなかったから最悪な選択させちゃって。
They're both blaming each other. They blaming themselves.
まだ手が変わらなかったからあなたが落ちた。
あのさ、西宮、俺生きるのを手伝ってほしい。
バカ。
She signed. She's so happy about being called stupid because she signed it. He must just have anxiety like all the time.
やばい、めっちゃ美味しい。
Wow. That was something else, guys. Wow. That put me through the emotional ringer. Oh, that movie was spectacular. It delves into such serious topics, but does so in such beautiful and poignant ways. I cried so much there at the end. The movie opens on Ishida getting ready to commit suicide, and he does everything he can to give his mom as much money as possible to thank her for raising him, and as an apology for leaving, and as an apology for everything he did as a child. So we're already aware of the high stakes of him possibly ending his life, and we find out he didn't commit suicide, but we slowly found out why he made that decision. And it's an interesting choice to show us the attempted suicide first, because we are already empathizing with him. We view the events of his childhood and his bullying of Shoko in a different light, with Nishimiya. We still think what he's doing is horrible, the bullying, but in the back of our minds we know that something changes within him. So, I mean, growing up, I don't think I ever ran into bullies, really. The closest thing to a bully I knew of was this guy like 2 years above me in high school, and he didn't go around like tormenting people. He was just more like an asshole to everybody, so he wasn't a bully. He was just an asshole, I guess. But yeah, one time he called me a fat ass, and I said, sure, I can always lose the weight though, but you're stuck with that face for the rest of your life. And he kind of came at me with some attitude, but backed off, because he realized I wasn't backing down. He wasn't intimidating me, but he mostly left me alone after that. My point is, I don't have too much experience with this sort of thing where it's endless tormenting people, and so I feel pretty lucky for that, because we know from like possibly stories in the news about bullying, we see it in all sorts of fiction, and it can seriously damage people's psyche, their feelings of self-worth. That was definitely the case here, and this movie, even though it's fiction, it tells a story that's very, very real. And even though I've only seen it through fiction, it's still really, really powerful to watch. But yeah, I don't know how to... Is it Ishida? Ishida or Ishida? Ishida is just so cruel to Nishimiya, making fun of the way she tries to read, and, I mean, like, mimicking her. And obviously she doesn't know what he's doing with that. She doesn't... I don't think she hears him doing that, even with the hearing aids. But speaking of that, he grabbed her hearing aids so many times, and I wanted to say at least there are some people who try to be her friend, none more so than Sahara, but it seems like everybody was really cruel to her, and Sahara disappeared. She mysteriously disappears early on. Kawai tries to be her friend, not really. Definitely doesn't step in when the other kids bully Nishimiya, and she plays like the victim later, which is also kind of slimy. And it's all super frustrating to watch, but it's also realistic. A lot of kids are still trying to figure out who they are, and might not be quick to defend someone who is practically a stranger, if it'll change the way people look at them. Ueno bullies Nishimiya behind the scenes, not as directly as Ishida does, but she doesn't want to learn sign language because just writing in a notebook is easier. Like, make an effort, right? Oh, man. But yeah, I wonder what it was that drew Nishimiya to Ishida, though, because she keeps wanting to be his friend. One of the first things he did was throw sand in her face. Like, what the heck? She did see Ishida erasing the mean message on the chalkboard and returns the favor later on. I guess there was nothing that I guess she thought others were even more out to get her and that he was looking out for her by erasing that message, in a sense, but then he torments her so much, even making her ears bleed by pulling out her hearing aids, and he's completely unapologetic about it, but she still apologizes to him when he gets called out by the teacher. So, I mean, she always blames herself, thinks it's her fault for being different when she's the one being harassed, and she still wants to be friends with him. It hurt my heart to watch that, because he doesn't even realize what she's asking. It's not until years later when he asks her in sign language to be friends that he realizes what she was doing. And as much as I disliked Ishida for his bullying, it was definitely unfair for him to be blamed for all of it, essentially, because a lot of them were treating Nishimiya like crap, and while he was the worst one, he was ostracized as if he was the only one doing it. And when someone came forth to ask about the hearing aids, I think it was the principal, he was afraid, but he was actually like moving to raise his hand because he wanted, there was some sort of like conscience inside him. But then the teacher just started yelling at him to admit his sins, which I hate that teacher so much. Oh my god. Like, he knew it was Ishida because he called him out, obviously. But then why wouldn't you point something out earlier? Why not stop the bullying if you knew it was wrong? I mean, if you knew it was wrong and you knew it was happening. But no, only once the principal or a higher authority comes in does he yell at the frickin' child. Like, you look really cool standing up for her now, jerkwad. And then when others are asked about Ishida, they deny everything. They deny their own involvement. And Ishida, he was trying not to take sole blame for the bullying, which that's not the proper thing to do in that moment. Like, you don't throw more people under the bus, even if they're complicit, especially when you're the worst one. But beyond it being the moral right thing to do to take the blame, everybody hates him for him trying to throw them under the bus, which is pretty screwed up because they all either participated or didn't do anything about the bullying. And then the disappointment in the mother's face afterward when confronting him about it. This whole movie is just like super heartbreaking. She brings him along to apologize and giving Nishimiya money for the the hearing aids, the earbuds. And then that's another thing Ishida would have to try to pay her back for later. And when she came back, though, Ishida's mom's ears were ripped up too. I want to believe that Mrs. Nishimiya didn't do that. Like, she's hard, but I don't see her getting violent to someone who's not even that involved. Like, it's Ishida's mom. Like, she didn't personally do the bullying, so I don't think she like ripped her earring out as like revenge or anything. It's much more likely that Ishida's mom ripped her own earring out as a way to show like solidarity or express her apologies. And I mean, it was done off screen too. I don't know, somehow doing it off screen and having Ishida notice what happened afterwards is more impactful than seeing her do it. And then Nishimiya still tries to keep being kind to him, rubbing off the graffiti on his desk like she thinks he did for her, which, I mean, he did, but after he wrote it in the first place. He doesn't realize what she's doing because he never sees the graffiti, and he attacks her. He keeps saying he doesn't understand what she's saying, but like, freaking write in her book, try to communicate. He had no interest in ever understanding her until it was too late. She gets transferred out, he sees all the graffiti on his desk, realizes what she was doing, all the kindness that she was showing him. I think it's a pretty universal experience to have things you regret from your childhood or your adolescence. In some extreme cases, we're defined by it. We live so much of our lives trying to do the right thing to make up for what we've done, or we perpetually feel the guilt and the weight of it. It can mess us up in a lot of ways. So you don't have to go through exactly what Ishida does, or what Ishida did, to empathize with him after he learns the error of his ways through getting bullied himself. And Years later, he goes to find her. She started running, and I was like, I think it'd be better off to just like leave it for now, especially since it's probably pretty creepy to track down like a young woman like that out of the blue. But then he starts like signing to her, and she's surprised that he learned sign language, and he asked her to be his friend, which he didn't realize. It seemed like he didn't realize until that moment what she was asking of him that many years ago. And she's so kind-hearted that after the first meeting, she's willing to like move past everything and be his friend without. I don't think he even properly apologized until like the end of the film. And then Ishida's mom finding that money and burning it by accident. That was a really interesting way she confronted him about it too. Like first she was very calmly asking him about attempting suicide. It's like, why do you want to kill yourself? Do you want to kill yourself? And I thought like, why doesn't she seem more agitated? But as soon as he admits it, she gets like really angry and threatens to burn the money, and then actually does by accident. If you guys ever need help, are you feeling that down, talk to the people around you. Preemptively, if you can, try not to get into that low, super low place before you reach out. I know what it's like to feel that way. I get it. Just try to reach out, even if it's the hardest thing to do, because you really need that. And then the use of the X's over everybody's face is really powerful, because we see Ishida avoid eye contact with everyone, but it's also a super powerful representation of not only how he doesn't feel safe talking to certain people, but also his inability to really see people for who they are. And after saving Nakatsuka by giving up his own bike, he makes a friend, the X falls off his face. It's such a wonderful way to show his growth, or his changing in perception, change in his mentality. And seeing the X's fall off throughout the movie and sometimes go back up is just really well done. And the thing is, speaking of Nagatsuka though, he looks so much like Green Mineta, right? It's not just me, Mineta from My Hero Academia, or Boku no Hero Academia if you're nasty. I'm just kidding. And he's not perverted the way Mineta is, but he has a similar energy at times, especially during that scene when he's like holding the fry like a cigarette and just like trying to be all deep about friendship. That reminded me of Mineta like qualities, and he's definitely much better than Mineta, but just such an odd child. And it's generally wonderful to see Ishida open up again thanks to Green Mineta, starting to enjoy life again for what might be the first time in a really long time. And I mean, he then, Nagatsuka actually follows him when he tries to meet up with Nishimiya a few times. Yuzuru blocks him, pretends to be dating her, but like she knows who Ishida was, so I figured she was trying to protect Nishimiya and that the dating thing was BS. But like at first I read her as a girl, but everybody reads her as a guy, so I was like, oh, okay, I thought she was a girl. Whoops, sorry. I didn't believe the dating thing for very long or at all, but I was like, oh, he's a boy, okay. But then it's later revealed that she's Nishimiya's younger sister, so I was like, that's exactly what I thought, she's a girl. But yeah, Yuzuru was trying to protect her sister, so I understand. Tricking people, just trying to try to shoo Ishida away. Man, so much happens in this film. I've been talking for 12 minutes yet, and I'm not even halfway done with everything I want to say, but Ueno clearly has feelings for Ishida and tries to get back into his life after those many years. But she hasn't had to face the same sort of backlash that Ishida did for bullying Nishimiya, and I don't feel like she's really grown as a person. She still blames Nishimiya for everything. That Ferris wheel conversation, just I feel like I don't really understand what she was trying to say. Like, she said, I didn't really make any attempt to get to know you, but you didn't try to understand me either. Like, that feels like such a stupid and petty thing to say. Like, which, yeah, they're teenagers, but how can you be mad at someone for not meeting you where you are when you made no effort to meet them where they are? And it feels like Nishimiya tried to be friends with everybody. I don't know. I get that there's some resentment for breaking up this friendship with Ishida, but she could have been a friend to Ishida while he was getting bullied, like try to be there for him in some way, or was she afraid of being ostracized as well? Like, she just blames everything without taking any personal responsibility. And And it's so difficult watching her deal with these feelings brought on by pettiness when Nishimiya is dealing with so much more. Because Ueno was talking about, let's just be two people who hate each other, and hating somebody is one thing, but Nishimiya says she doesn't hate Ueno, she hates herself. Like, she's dealing with such more serious problems, which, I mean, it's not like I'm trying to compare. I'm not saying that Ueno's feelings aren't valid, but I don't know. It just, there's a huge contrast in the way they're feeling, and it's so difficult to see Nishimiya working through so much and still have the heart to be kind to people, while Ueno is just being a pissy brat and taking no personal responsibility. I don't think the movie makes me hate her, but it's just, yeah, the huge contrast between them. And Ueno does care about Ishida in some way, staying with him at the end when he was in the hospital, so much anger and emotion when he fell from the balcony. And she comes around a little to Nishimiya eventually, using sign language for the first time, even if it was to insult her. It's complicated, it's messy, it's real, and I actually appreciate it, even if it was, I appreciate her as a character, even if she was frustrating to watch at times. She does bring up points that are really interesting to think about, whether or not Ishida is becoming friends with Nishimiya because he feels guilty, or for what reason. I don't know. If I was in his shoes and hurt someone so much, I'd honestly do whatever I could to avoid them. Like, not even out of guilt or shame, though possibly because of those things, but just so that they wouldn't have to be faced with seeing me and, like, reliving whatever trauma I caused. Nishimiya happens to be okay with it after running away at first, though, so I mean, I guess it's really up to the... It's depends on the situation. I think it was a good choice for the movie not to get into a romance between Nishimiya and Ishida, because at least not this early on in their newfound friendship, because Nishimiya obviously wanted to tell him that she likes him, pulled her hair back to not block the hearing aids. She tried talking to him with her own voice instead of sign language, so it was so sweet, but also felt very misguided, because she was trying to be as normal as possible because she wanted to be seen the way a normal girl would be seen. And and the reason I think it's important that this friendship doesn't become a relationship just yet is because neither of them are in a good place to do so. She's not even comfortable in her skin. How can she be you can't have a healthy relationship if both people don't have healthy relationships with themselves. And they both have a lot of self-loathing. Neither of them honestly know each other that well just yet. I mean, they're good. They have a very strong fondness for each other already, but there's just so much trauma to work through before they can be with anybody. It was really sad, though, to see Ishida not understand what Nishimiya was saying, though, and then her feet flailing while she was in bed. It was it was so painful, but also so cute. Oh my god. But yeah, it was nice seeing Ishida open up again, making friends. But he's not completely equipped to handle friendships either. The years since Nishimiya left their school, he does start to become a different person because he understands what Nishimiya was going through his own experiences, but he's so focused on making up for treating Nishimiya poorly that he doesn't grow in other ways, which leads to that moment where he basically tells off the group of friends. Like, he was clearly hurting, but he's dealt with everything alone for so long that instead of reaching out and talking to them properly, he uses cruelty to distance himself so he doesn't have to confront some very difficult emotions and have some very difficult conversations. And then after driving everybody off, including Mashiba, Kawai, Sahara, just everybody, even Green Mineta, he focuses completely on Nishimiya, which also feels very real. This movie, even though it's anime, it feels, in some cases, it feels very emotionally true. We all know those kind of people who get so caught up in a relationship that they kind of drop everything else. It's clearly unhealthy, but they're so infatuated that they can't really help it. And here, it's not like a romantic infatuation, but this sort of obsession with making this one relationship right. He feels like if he can do this one thing right, he can make up for everything he's done. And he believes that he's so much of a failure, but he's just thinking, let me get this one thing right, and it'll be enough. But it isn't. He puts on this happy face and spends time with Nishimiya and her family. The mom is understandably very not fond of him, but even she starts to tolerate his presence first at her birthday party, which not a great time to... Anyway, then the fireworks festival. And I get he was also trying to be there for Nishimiya's family after the grandma died. Oh, that was sad. And, I mean, all of what I'm talking about is life experience, and he's a teenager. Both of them are just teenagers, so... A lot of what I'm saying, I wish I knew when I was his age, to have healthier friendships, have some have a better sense of self, and go to therapy at a younger age, maybe, so I'd be a better mental space. I feel like both of them desperately need to go to therapy too, but I don't know what mental health, like healthcare is like in other countries, in Japan specifically, and. I mean, yeah, all this time Ishida is hating himself, self-sabotaging. Nishimiya was feeling guilty and blaming herself. These two kids just think the world would be better off without them, and it's heartbreaking. And after that, or during the fire festival, Nishimiya is ready to kill herself because she thinks people would be better off without her. She blames herself for Ishida losing his friends, and that's just the thing. She's so kind-hearted. She doesn't ever want to kill herself because of how she's treated by others. She wants to kill herself because she believes she's hurting the people that she cares about, which somehow a little bit overlooking the fact that the same people would mourn her death so much and would hurt even more. And Ishida is barely able to save her, convinces her to grab on, and just as she's pulled up, he falls down too, which... Oh, man. And the hospital scene, that has to be the most powerful scene in the movie. My favorite part, for sure. Just that entire part in the hospital. Mama Nishimiya getting down on her knees to apologize to Ishida's mom. I completely lost it then. Just completely, utterly gone. Holy crap. And then Ueno attacking Nishimiya. Her mother jumping in. Just... I think the movie does a really good job at making you invested in these characters. But they never really hit you with too much emotion early on. It just keeps building and building and building until the last half hour when it's just non-stop ripping your heart out. So yeah, there was a lot of stuff to get emotional over, but it was nothing cry-worthy until it was just way too much emotion going on here. But yeah, Nishimiya crying at the feet of Ishida's mom, saying she's sorry. That was so hard to watch. And then there's that scene where Ishida and Nishimiya rush to each other at night, though, I don't know, they had like a feeling in their bones that they should go there. In that moment, it doesn't feel very realistic. It feels very, very anime, but I didn't care. Like, the emotional payoff was good enough. I'm getting emotional just thinking about it right now. Just absolute masterpiece of a film. Ishida finally apologizes for everything and vows to actually get to know Nishimiya on a different level, in a real way that's not self-serving or out of guilt, but to actually know her as a person. And only once he does that can they actually be a couple, if that is where the story's going. Yeah, but and that ending where he starts seeing people differently and actually sees them for who they are. All the exes fall away. He's ready to become someone who actually sees other people, and that's so cool. Oh, what a wonderful film. There were a few choices I felt were a little questionable in the film, because until I found out that this movie was based on a manga series, I questioned some decisions. So the movie never made that big of a deal about Sahara's relationship with Nishimiya before Sahara left, and then when she got brought back into the story, I barely remembered her, and I was like, there was somebody Nishimiya was hanging out with a little earlier, but when she was younger, but like I don't remember anything about the relationship. I don't think I even remembered that she left until I didn't realize that she left, and then she apologized for being cowardly, and I was like, what's going on? I don't remember this. So I get that the director of the movie probably had their hands tied because Sahara probably had a bigger role in the manga and they didn't want to take her out of the story. But at the same time, there's so much story to get through that they didn't give us enough time to really understand their relationship. And it definitely makes me want to read the manga because I do love this story so much, and it would be really great to learn more about these characters and see what was left out of the movie, if anything was added. And yeah, the other side characters similarly could have used more development too. It's already like a 2 hour plus movie though, so I understand they couldn't include everything. I don't think we ever saw Ishida's sister's face, and his brother-in-law was in like the intro and the ending, and I I don't know that I have an opinion on Mashiba either. But yeah, anyway. I didn't even mention Ishida's niece, Maria. She's so cute. Oh my god. She was crying so hard when Ishida came back from the dead. That was great. But yeah, overall, fantastic movie. 10 out of 10. Only the 8th film I've given that score to, and this is like the 70-something film I've watched on this channel. I almost gave it a lower score because Ishida always has the tag hanging out of the back of his shirt. Like, come on, dude. I'm joking. It didn't actually bother me that much, but the movie was just super emotional. It tells a very compelling and important story. Just an excellent, spectacular film. I almost want to use the M word, the masterpiece. And I think I will. It's great. It's spectacular. All right, guys. I'm sure I could talk about this movie for a long time still, but my throat is dying already, and it's already been going on for 25 minutes, this commentary, so I'll end it here. If you guys want to watch the full reaction, you can check out Patreon in the link in the description below. Leave a like, really helps out the channel. I've been going through some algorithm problems recently, so every like definitely helps. Be sure to do that. And thanks for watching. I'll see you guys in the next movie reaction. We've got a lot coming in December. But yeah, thanks for watching.